Welcome back. You're watching Creating Cooperative Kids, and I'm your host, Bill Corbett. Parents feel stressed when they suspect that their child isn't getting the special education services that they may require for any sort of special needs. The parent fears their child will be lost in the system and end up failing and staying back because of difficulty in learning. But a parent can take an immediate action to keep this from happening. With me on the show today is Amy Greenbaum, an advocacy consultant who has a master's in young children with special needs and received her training through the Federation of Children with Special Needs in Boston. Her focus is on the birth to 8 years of age. Also with me is Anne Marie Diarco, an adjunct professor with Bay Path College, also with advocacy training through the Federation of Children with Special Needs in Boston. She specializes in the transition age. Thank you so much for joining me on today's show.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
I think this is a topic that isn't discussed a whole lot about. I don't think parents know a whole lot about it. And I may not have all the knowledge, which is why I've called you in here to help me. So please correct me if I get anything not correct.
Sure.
When I think of educational advocacy, the first thing that comes to mind for me is parents who are concerned because their child may have some sort of special needs to keep up with the class, with the lesson plan, or they're falling behind. And I think parents who aren't educated, who don't know, I think oftentimes they get so mad at the school system, they're running to the school committee, why isn't something being done about this? Well, how can you help my child? And they let the anger get in the way. Mm-hmm. But if they realize that there are resources out there to help them and almost get out of the way, mm-hmm. and call in the right people, then things can actually change for them and their child. Am I on the right track?
Yes. The most important thing that we tell the parents is to reach out, call certain agencies. If your daughter or son has an issue, Google it. You can Google it, go to the library, and really research and get some information. The most important thing is not to do it alone. Also, you can get an advocate. But when you get stressed, the most important thing is to breathe. Mm-hmm. To breathe and relax, and to know you're not alone. And there are people out there like us, the advocates. You can research it, and that's the key, is to really look for other people. There are parent advocacy groups that can help you. And I think that's when parents really get frustrated, because they feel they're alone. And it's really important to reach out.
So let's start with understanding, what does an educational advocate do?
Well, we actually help parents learn about the laws. The laws, one is called IDEA, 2004, and also each state has their own laws. So you can look up that as well, Department of Education, and find out what law they add to the IDEA 2004. But what we do is we help the parents with understanding the laws, what's important for their child, and help them write up an educational plan. Help them guide so that in the school systems they can know what their child needs.
Just basically to navigate them through the IEP maze of making sure that all of the educational facets are in the plan for the child to be successful.
So I want to throw a question at you.
Sure.
A parent came to me recently and said, my child's teacher said that I better put him on medication, mm-hmm. because he's not paying attention, and they want him medicated so that he'll focus. Mm-hmm. Is that something where I would need an educational advocate? Is that in line with what we're talking about along with the topic? Are there laws that keep teachers from saying that? Or?
Well, I think what's important is that teacher really showing that they care. And I think it's important for the parent to say, well, what is this about? And to get more information. I think it's also important for the parent to ask the teacher, what are the facts? What did you see? What's going on? I think getting to more of the bottom, and then asking the school. They could do an evaluation, or also the parent can seek more information. Mm-hmm. But I think that, in my opinion,
I think it's important for parents to realize that they are the best advocate for their child. No one knows your child better than you do. So if you're not seeing something in your child, and a teacher is, or someone in the school community is, you need to be informed and take a stance on what is it that you see and get educated by that. There are no quick answers. It's a process, and it all begins with an evaluation, sitting down with an educational team and formatting a plan for this child. And medicine may not be the fix.
So can you describe for us how does the process begin? What does it look like?
Well, part of the process, it depends on the age of your child. When they're born, birth to 3 years old, is called an early intervention team. And that's a federal law that all towns have that service. So you would call the early intervention. You could look it up in your phone book. You could Google it, go to the library. And they actually then do come in when you call up and do an evaluation of the child. What are your needs? What are the child's needs? What are the issues? And anybody can refer. The parent can refer, and also a pediatrician, and also a family member can refer a child. And then after that, from preschool, from 3 years to 5 years, then the school system takes over, and you can call up the school system, or you can also write a letter to them saying your concerns.
Now, both of you are educational consultants, and you run your practice, if you will, whatever. And where do you get most of your calls from? Is it directly from parents or from the school systems, or?
It varies. It can be from parents. It can be directly through the Federation for Children with Special Needs. Just in networking with other people in the community, physicians. It really is.
It can come from anywhere.
It really can, yes.
Now, I noticed you work primarily with, or a great deal with, kids in transition.
Yes.
What does that mean?
Transition stage in the state of Massachusetts begins at the age of 14. And what that states is that the team needs to come together and develop a plan for this child post-high school. So that incorporates, is the child going to continue their education at a higher education institution? Is the child have life skills? Does the child need training in driver's education, living independently? So all of those pieces of the puzzle have to come together so that there is a nice concrete plan developed for this child post-high school.
So the transition period is moving from the grade school into high school.
Right, from the age of 14 through the age of 22.
Okay. So what happens when the child reaches adult age at 18?
Well, when the child reaches age of majority, which is 18 in the state of Massachusetts, they become an adult. They can make their own decisions. They can decide. Up until that point, the parent or the legal guardian usually makes the decisions for the child, for their educational plan and such. At the age of 18, the child then can determine he or she wants to make his own decisions unless a waiver is signed where they continue to give the parent and or legal guardian that permission.
So what's the most important thing in this whole process?
Well, I think as Anne-Marie said, is that the parents are their own. They know the child the best. And I think what's really important is to really trust themselves. If they feel that there's an issue and there's a concern, to act on it.
What if it's only seen in the classroom and not at home?
Well, I think then that's something they need to talk with the teachers about. I think they can talk to the school system about. They can also talk with other professionals. But I also think that they need to gather information, and they know their child the best.
And that's a really important point, is that the parent knows the child, and replace your anger with action. Get into the schools and be ready to almost be like a project manager. Pull the right people together, get it done. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
This is really important for parents to be educated in this process. So
Thank
appreciate
you so
your time.
much.
What would you do if you discovered that your child took a toy from a store without paying for it, and when questioned, your child lies about where he got it from? Coming up in the next segment, I'll be addressing this exact situation when I answer a viewer's question about what to do when a child lies. Don't go away. We'll be right back after this short break.